So we'll be discussing about like how do we create the XML file and what are the content that we have to have as part of XML file. Okay. So in general, so what do we have as part of like Java class? So in Java class, we have package. Inside that package, we have some source folder. Okay. So we have package. Inside that package, we have a source folder. Okay. Source folder. And then we have a class. And after that, we have a methods. Okay. Methods to get executed. So it is as similar as XML file. We'll have the same thing. Okay. We have a suite. Inside that, we have a test. And inside that test, we have a class. Okay. Which class we need to write and what are the methods that we have to consider. Okay. The methods we have to consider. So we have to create XML file so that we can handle the execution properly. Okay. So directly now we are trying to run the class using the test engine, right? So when I right click on it, like you can see there is an option that we can run it. Okay. But I don't want to use this one. Okay. So I want to create a separate XML file to execute this particular class. Okay. So for this, I'm going to take an example of here itself, test-ng. I'm going to create a separate class, test-ng XML example. So here what I'm going to do is like, I'll just copy paste few things. So only we are trying to execute this method, right? Before method and after method. So what I'm going to do is like, I'll try to run only one method. This one, this also. So here, what is that we want to extend is like, we want to extend the base class so that we can get all the things from that class. Okay. Now I can go and try to run it and see what is that I'm going to get. Just I'm trying to execute it to the class. But is that the same thing that we are going to handle every time? That, for example, you have 10 classes. I want to execute like 10 classes. Okay. So you cannot go and directly, you cannot go and right click on each and every class and you will execute, right? So for that, what we do is like, we are going to create XML. Okay. So I'll show you how do we create that XML file and what is the structure of it. It's trying to execute. So I'm just trying to execute it in a raw way. Okay. So that's nothing, but I'm just going to the class and run as. I'm just clicking on this run as and I'm executing that. Okay. So for this, what I'm going to do is like, I'll just create a file called XML. Okay. Right click, go to new, and here you can see you have to click on others and type XML. Okay. So here we have a XML file. Okay. Let it execute now. It's just executing some piece of code, opening the browser and get the title and close it. Okay, I did not quit, so I will click. So here we are getting the title. Okay, so let me just go ahead here, cancel, and you can see this is what we got. Now it's like I want to create XML file, and from there I want to execute my code. Okay, so as I discussed here, like we have package inside that source folder, inside that class, and inside that method. Okay, so likewise we have XML will have this format. Okay, so we have a suite. The suite will contain the test, and test contains the classes. Classes contains the methods, which methods you want to execute. Okay, so we'll look into the basic XML file first, and then after we can see what are the different things that can be considered as part of like XML. Okay, so here I'm going to create XML file. So I'll name it as like testng XML. Once you finish it, you can hit like design and source. You need to click on the source. Okay. So this is like basic thing that will show XML version and encoding EFT0, EFT8. Okay. So after that, what I'm going to do is like I'll create tags like suite. So inside the suite, what we have to have is like we have to have test. Inside the test, I'm going to add classes. Inside that classes, yeah, inside we'll put one class at a time, and after that we'll see what are the things that we can cover as part of like classes. Okay, so now you see we got this, and we need to give the suite name. Okay, so name is equals to, I'm going to name it as like test suite, and we have to give the test name also. It is test1, and here name is equals to which class you want to include. Okay, which class you want to include. So what is that class that I want to include? This is the class I want to include. Okay, so it is located in the Selenium testng. So we have to give complete path name. Okay, so package dot, you have to give the class name. Okay, so now you see how many methods that we have here. So those will be executed. So how do we run this now? So we have two things here. Right click on it and you can run as testng. Another one is like right click on this file, testng file, and you can run it. Okay, so let's run it. Now it is running through the testng XML file. There is some issue. Let me just look into that. Cannot invoke XML file set parameter because this is using this.m current file. So let me remove this one, Selenium. So we have test name and we are closing it. Okay, let me just remove this also. That I'm going to add it because only we have one class. So I'm just closing it here. Class, and we have a class name. We'll better to put one in here, classes. Inside that classes we can put, okay, whatever the class that we want to consider. Okay, so inside that I'm going to, okay, which class you want to put. So I'll show you, this is like manually I'm creating. The other way also I'll show you how do we create it. Okay, so classes that we have considered in tags. Okay, so here I'm just putting n tag inside that, so that is the reason why it was throwing there. Okay, let me go and execute it. Is that it is no provider class engine, class path testng is not, cannot be found again. So let me just take this one, Selenium also. So it is trying to find within the source folder, okay, within the folder that we have created. Okay, that's nothing but package. Within that package we have, so here you can see, okay, package inside package. Two packages that we have. So that is the reason why it was storing there. It's not able to find it. So now it should go good because we have given all the paths perfectly. Now you see it started executing the code. Okay. So what is that we are trying to do is like we want to get the title of the, okay, so we got it. Now go here and it see it is executing. So what is that we have done here is like we have created the XML file. Okay, so this is how the structure of the XML file will look. And the thing is like now here you can see I've created manually. But how if you want to convert something into the XML file, and how do we convert it? It's like right click on this class and you can see there is a testng file. So you can see this is the option, okay, testng, and you can see create testng class or convert to testng. Okay, so if I click on convert to testng, so it will show you the code here. So what is that? It is auto generating. Okay. So additionally, you can see these few things are added here, document type, and this like it's giving the suite name and thread count name. Don't worry about this all thread count and all. Why do we use it? And here you can see selenium.stng.sample.stng.class. Okay. So, but this we have created manually. Okay. So this we have created manually. So first thing is like we have created manually, and second thing is like if you want to convert it, right click on this class and you can go here and you can see it will show you like convert to test.ng. When you click on convert to test.ng, it will ask you to see, for example, if you have a same file name here, okay, I'll go back and try to give the, see here we have like, where is it going to create test.ng.xml file, okay. So next, if you want to override it, you can override it. Okay, now you see the similar code that we got, right? Only few things are additionally showing up like test thread and all. Okay, so this is also not required. Okay, sometimes it is like, okay, if you have this, like what it is showing, like document type system, from where it is coming, it is showing up. Let me execute the same thing here. Okay, it is taking something test.ng file. What is that we have to consider is like, this is the class, right? So that we want to consider. Take this one, right click on it, and you can see it is showing up. These are the three things that has covered as part of test.ng, right? So here you can see 3 tests are executed. So, but I want to execute this one. So what do you need to do? Go here and change it. I can go and execute this. Okay, right click on the grid or right click on the test.ng XML file. Everything works like as same. Okay. See, we got it. Okay. I did not close it. That is the reason why it's showing. So to close it, what I'm going to do is like I'll just close all these files and all. So here we have 2 methods, right? So first method is like it's going to get the title, and second method. Okay, so only one time I want to open the browser. I'll just remove this one. And I want to enter something into the text. Okay, so I'll just open this site, whatever we have. So here I want to enter some data. Okay, how do I identify the element here? I can see I'm just going, typing here, and we have like input ID. Okay, Control C, Control F, and now you can say that input at that ID is equals to, I'm just using XPath. You can use anything. So input ID. Otherwise, I'll take the search. What is that we have? Type. Let me refresh this again, try. Okay, it is showing here. Now there's another way is like we can use $X and you can just type it here. It's not showing up here. So something I need to do is like I'll just take google.com, I'll enter. Because we are going to the google.com, right? So we'll take this one. It is different now. Okay. It is different showing here. And it's like name, text area, and its name is Q. I'll try to text area. If that name is equals to some Q, it is showing, right? So I'll type this one. We got this. Okay. So I want to enter something here and I want to get element by dot XPath and I want to enter some text into it. Okay, we got the element here. So we got the element. After that, I want to do is like want to enter sending automation testing, comma. I want to press enter there itself. Okay. Keys got enter. You can use this one also. Okay. So we can enter text and you can click on send keys. Okay. So now I want to get the title of it. So it's like two tests it has to execute. And third test is like it will close it. Okay. So test. I just want to close the browser. Public void test3. What you need to do is like need to get driver dot quit. Okay, now you see all the three tests should be executed. Just going to throw the declarations. Okay, exception here. Now right click on this XML file and run as test engine suite. Okay, all the three test cases are executed. Okay, I can see we got this and it's like fast. Now you can see it has executed test1, test2 and test3. So to see what is that exactly that we have got as part of this execution, we can just go and refresh this. You can get the test.ng XML output here. Okay, so right click, run as, open with this. And you can select the. Okay, if you have a default browser here, you can just go and select it from. Okay, select this one. I can see what happened here. It's showing like all three test cases are executed. Okay, switch to retro. You can see all this. Okay, so this is like in which order it has executed. It's showing like it executed in test1, test2, and test3. Okay, so this is how we'll be executing with the test. For example, I have like multiple test cases. I want to execute this one in Firefox, and other one is like in Edge, and another one is like in Edge, in like Chrome, Edge, and Firefox. Okay, so in that case, how do we exactly use this? So I'll take this one, example 2, example 3. Okay, so I want to execute three tests now, three classes. Okay, three classes in different browsers. So how do we define now? So it's like test1. We already have this test1, test2, and test3. Okay, I'll make it as this one as like test1. So I'll go here and I'll name it as like test1. So this is, it should be executed in Chrome and it should be executed in Firefox, and other one should be executed in Edge. Okay, so now you see the three classes that I want to execute. Okay, three classes from the one single file. Okay, so now we see I'm just naming it as like class 1, class 2, and class 3. Okay, so three classes that I want to execute. Come here and right click, run as test.ng. First one will be executed in Chrome. Okay, type automation testing and click enter, then close it. Result it is doing now. This one executed. I'll go to the class 1. It has executed. See, maybe there could be some timeout exception. It is not able to find this element. Okay, so that is different issue. But now you see that it is opening in different browsers. Right now it is like finding it Firefox. Execution of Firefox is done. Now it will open the Edge. Automation testing, and it will close the browser. Okay, so all three got executed. So there could be some issue with the element identification in Chrome, but now you see that all three got executed. Okay. Now you see in the first browser, that is nothing but the Chrome browser. Chrome browser, it has executed this. And this is like Firefox. And here, like Edge browser. Okay. So now you see the three classes got executed here. Okay. And the thing is like now we can handle this execution as part of like, this is one way of like, we created the XML file manually and we created automatically. And we have created three different classes and try to execute them. Okay. So try to execute them. So what is that we have done is like just we have created these classes, separate classes and try to execute them from the single class. Okay. So this is what we have to like, create XML file in these cases. Okay. So generally what we do is like we never go and try to execute each classes separately. So what we do is like we are going to configure all these classes inside this test.ng XML file. From here, we are going to execute it. Okay. Sorry, clear about this, guys? So this is like we are going to handle this XML. Now we looked into the classes, right? So what we are going to do is like we'll try to create separate test. Okay. So each class is kind of like a separate test for us. Okay. So test 1, test 2, and test 3. Okay. Now you see what is the how the execution has followed. Like this is what it is showing up here, right? So this class, it has executed 3 methods. This class, 3 methods. This class, this 3 methods. But under one test. Now we are separating them. Okay. So I'll remove these things. Put it here. I'll just remove these things from the test 1 and this thing from test 2. And this is like test 3. Okay. Now we have like 3 tests with 1 class each. Okay. With 1 class each. My requirement is like 3 tests with 1 class each. Okay. So now you see test 1, test 2, and test 3, but under the same suite. Okay. But executing different classes in different tests. So now what I'm going to do, right click and run as test.ng suite. Now see, it is our requirement. We are going to organize like how do we exactly identify this element and all, so that we are handling based on our requirements. Okay, see 9 runs are there, no failures, and you can see how this has been handled. Test 1, class 1. Test 2, class 2. Test 3, class 3. Okay, so likewise we are going to organize. So in case like if you want to handle the methods also, okay, for example, if you want to handle the methods, so how do you handle these methods? In this class, I want to execute only few methods, only 2 methods. Okay, so what I need to do is like I'll be adding a tag called methods. Okay, so methods. So in that method, I want to include. Okay, so what you do is like we are going to include which methods that you want to execute. So showing this content class parameter. Okay, we need to remove this one. Okay, so because we have to consider the methods. Okay, this slash reminds like this is the end of the class. So if you put this one, then what happens is like it will throw the error. So that is the reason why we have to remove this. So methods and have to have this. Now we have to use the classes. Okay, so likewise we are going to add it to this one also. Class C. When we say slash here, okay, if I say slash, this is nothing but end of this class, and it won't want to consider these methods. Okay, if you want to consider something as part of class, you have to remove this. Okay, this is nothing but notation of XML file. Okay, so if you say this slash, it's like end of that particular test configuration. Okay, so here I want to execute only this test and this one, test 1 and test 3. Okay, so test 2 I don't want to consider. In this case, what I'm going to do is like I'll put the methods which I want to execute. So here in this case, I'm going to execute this one, but here I'll be configuring little different. Okay. So test1 and test2. Okay. So test2 and test2. Okay. We have this browser should be loaded here, right? So we'll consider test1 and test3. Okay. So test1 and test2. Let me just take test1 and test2. Test1, test2. Okay. Second browser will remain open. And third one is like, I want to include all methods. Include all methods here. So test2, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now you see what we did first, we try to execute single class within the single test. After that, I added multiple classes with one test. Now I am just splitting different tests with different classes, including the methods. Okay, which method you want to execute in this class. Okay, now you see it's kind of like our configuration. Okay, we are configuring it. So first one, it will open the Chrome browser, it will execute test1 and test3. And second class, it will come, it will open test1 and test2, and it will remain like it will open because we are not calling the test3. Include, exclude, these are the tags that we are going to use. Include in the sense which method you want to include. Okay, so exclude is like you can just use like include. If you are using include, what it does is like it will include this particular methods from that particular class. Okay, method. If what I'm calling method is like @test. The execution begins from @test. Okay, so now you see test1, test3. Here I'm putting in the first browser, in the Chrome browser, it's going to consider test1 and test3. In Firefox, it's going to consider test1 and test2. In Edge, it's going to consider 1, 2, 3. Okay, all the three. So how do I execute now? I've just created this XML file. Now I'm going to run it. Okay, right click, run as XML. First, it will open Chrome browser, closed it. And second, it is opening Firefox. Enter and it will remain open. And third one, it is opening Edge. Will enter, close it. Okay, now you see how do you handle this execution here? It will show you. Go to this test1, test3. Okay, so what is that method that we consider? Test1, test3. And in second one, test1, test2. Okay, here you can see test1, test2. And third, we have like test1, 2, 3. Okay, test1, 2, 3. So we looked into the include tag, right? So we can use exclude also. Okay, exclude is like I can just exclude, give the name exclude, which method you want to exclude. Okay, exclude name equals to test2. Okay, exclude. I will go and execute it is similar to the similar to the one that we have executed. Okay, it will ignore that test. See, we handle that, sequential execution. Okay, so now you see that we are trying to execute in different classes in different browsers also. Okay, it's kind of like sequential execution that we are handling. We'll see parallel executions. Now you see 1, 3. Sorry, 1, 3. It excluded this test. Okay, second is excluded. 1, 2. We did not put anything exclude here. Only it's taking the include tag. And it is like it is including all of them. Okay, it is as simple as like if you remove this one, it does the same thing. It will exclude rest of the. It will include rest of the test cases, only excluding this particular test. Okay, so now we go and try to execute it. So it's the same output. Okay, I'll just try to close all the browsers. So I'm just putting it here. Now you see. It will exclude that particular second test case and rest of the test cases will be executed. Okay, so include is like it will include those test cases, exclude is like it will exclude those test cases. Test case in the sense I'm just talking about like methods. Now it will close it because we have included the method 3 also, which will close the browser. Okay, now you see, go here and check the results. 1, 3 got executed, excluding this particular test. Okay, excluding this particular test. Okay, so this is about like how do we handle this test execution. So I'll just do this. Try to add the tag here. So here test 2. Yes, exclude. Okay, so what it is doing now, it will go to this particular XML file and it's going to exclude. Okay, so I'll try to create multiple files here. So what I'm going to do is like I'll create a folder. Inside that folder, I'll put it. Okay, so it will be easy for us to understand. Test ng, I'll write test ng XMLs. So in under this test ng XMLs, I'm going to okay. So here you can see I'm going to create Control C, Control V, test ng with tests with classes. Okay, so I'll put this as like with classes. So I'll just open this, and here I'll put everything inside one single test. This. Test 2. Here we are not configuring anything, so I'm just closing this test. Okay, so this is like we have one single test with different classes. Okay, so this is one XML, and here I'm going to create another XML. With number of tests. Okay, so with number of tests. So this I will open and I'll try to paste this one. Control A, Control C, and I'll just make the changes. So I'll just remove this the first time. Okay, now it is like kind of we have different tests with different classes. Okay, so this is like into a name with test ng with class with test classes and methods. Okay, methods to include and exclude. So how do we configure this? So go to the testng.org. So here you'll find everything. Okay, so go here, go to the documentation, and we are talking about like .xml file, right? See, this is like basic XML file it is showing. We have a test, we have a classes. Within that classes, class path we are specifying what is the class name and class path, and after that we have created. This is like test 1 and this is like test 2. Okay, so it's regression 1. The regression, there are 2 test cases that are included for execution, like 2 classes which are included for execution. Okay, and other thing is like we have packages also. If you want to execute them as like a one package, okay, all the test cases that I want to execute. So how do I do it now? So go here and you can directly Otherwise, you can just right click, open this, right click on this particular file and say convert to stng XML. So here I can specify. Okay. So what is that I can do is like I can add the packages. Packages. Package name equals to what is that? Selenium dot test ng. So this I can create packages. So here I'll name it as like, where do we have? This is like testng packages. So I got this testng packages here. Okay, I'll just move this one here. Open this. Okay, you see, where is the packages? So I did not add. Sorry for that. Let me just add it here. What is that I want to execute is like I want to execute the packages. Okay, so we'll go and look into the syntax. We have test and the packages. That's what we are trying to do it, right? So I'll just copy this. I'll paste it and I'm going to specify the package name selenium.testng. Okay. Now go and try to execute this, remove this threads and all. So now you see it will execute all this, all the tests that we have inside this package will be executed. See now. All the classes, okay, classes inside that particular package will be executed. So take screenshot, this will be executed and executing all this. Browser dependencies also will be executed. So it will take some time because we have classes inside that package, more number of classes. Okay, it's waiting for this element and it will capture the screenshot. Open the Google, we'll open the Firefox. Okay, it opens the Gmail, and this is like another class that we have discussed, right? YouTube. Close it. Here also something that we want to capture, it will capture. Okay, now it is different tests, automation testing. Close it. We'll stop the execution. Okay, I'll close it and we can see what is that. There are like 16 tests. Okay, so now you see what is that it has done. It has executed all the classes. You can see sample, a simple test engine, take screenshot, test engine annotation example, example 1, example 2, example 3. Okay, so all the classes that we have inside this package have got executed. Okay, so it all got executed. So where do we see this now? So we can see in results. Other one is like we can just go here and right click, refresh on this project. You can see there's an output test output folder, right? When this test output folder, refresh this and you can just open this emailable output or index.html. Okay, so just click on this. Now you see it will show. What is that? It has executed. Okay, so everything is like it is showing all the details. So how much time it has taken in milliseconds and how many test cases that we have executed. Okay, so everything is like reported here. So this is all about like how do we execute it package, and this is like we executed our classes in different tests, different classes and methods also. I used methods also. Okay, So we'll discuss about like groups and see, this is what we have included, right? Method, which method you want to execute and all. Okay. So groups little later I'll discuss. This is a detailed discussion that we are going to have. So here you can see we are going to use this methods, like which method you want to include. Exclude is like it will exclude. Include is like it will include those methods. So these are the different options that we have. So we'll see that how do we use it. Okay. So and you can see that this is like simple. How do we create the groups and all? So we'll discuss about it. Okay. So and this is one thing. Now, so we have few things that we are going to check is like we are going to look into the assertions. Okay, assertions are like we have two types of assertions. One is like soft assertion, another one is like hard assertion. Okay, so now when I open this, just go with the class like yeah, this is a class. Okay, so what are these assertions actually? You go to testng again, testng org plus assertions. This one. Let me search for that assertions. Control F. Okay, so here we can see that there are like assert equals few things are displayed, right? Assert failures. What we do is like this assert is nothing but it's kind of like a validation if condition. Okay, so if assert, okay, if it's like passing, then it will move further. If it is failing, it will stop it. Okay, so there are like two kinds of assertion. One is like hard assertion. Hard assertion in the sense now we see. Yeah, I'm getting the title here. Okay, so I'm trying to get the title here. I'll take this title and store it in a string. String title equals to something. So here I'm going to take it as like title is equals to this one. Okay. Now I'm going to make it as like static. Okay. So we not write static here. Okay, this is fine. So now if I'm going to check, okay, title dot equals. If it is equals. Okay. So then what I want to do is like I want to execute this script. Okay, instead of using this if condition, we are going to use assert equals. Okay, assert equals, and I'm going to pass it as like so this is like kind of a validation that we are going to. Okay, so this is kind of like a validation. If condition, we are going to write the title, but here what it is like internally, if it's going to throw the exception. Okay, so if it matches, if it is equals to this particular condition, then only it will go and execute this particular script. Okay, so let me go and execute this now. Otherwise, if this is not matching, okay, likewise we have assertions. Assertions are like kind of validations that we are going to. Okay, so what are the different types of assertions? What we have here in TestNG is like TestNG supports these assertions to validate our execution. Okay, so what we have is like we have assert equals, we have assert true, assert false, assert not equals. Okay, it's all based on our requirement. We need to use this. Okay, assert null. Okay, here so on things that we are going to use. Okay, we'll see that what are the assertions that we have here. Okay, how do we find out what are the assertions that we have here? So what I'm going to do is like I'll try to create a class called assert. Assert is equals to new assert. Assertions. Otherwise, I'll use a like assertions. So it is asking you to import this. Import package we have to use org.assert. Okay. So here it's like constructor, it's expecting something to be done here. So let me just create inside this. It's not visible. So it is like protected hide constructor. Okay, it is hiding, so it is like public static. So directly we can use it. We not to create class for this. So what we can do is like we can use assert dot. You can see what are the methods which are available. Okay, assert dot. You can see assert equals. See all these are like methods which are available inside that assert class. Okay, so go here and you see that what is that public class, and it is protected assert. This is the constructor. It's hiding the constructor. Okay. So inside that we have a lot of methods. Assert equals assert true, assert false. Okay. So then we have like assert equals, assert like these are the different methods that we have. Okay. So what is that method that I want to use is like I want to use assert equals. If that particular title is equals to the title that I'm passing, then only you can go and execute this code. Okay. Now you see that I'm going to give 1, 2, 3. Okay, if the title, whatever title I'm getting is like Google, but here title it is showing as 1, 2, 3. Now you go and try to execute this. Now we see what happens. It will throw the exception. See what it is doing now. It is throwing the exception. In this exception, you are getting this. Assert expected Google, but found Google 1, 2, 3. Okay. So what is that you are expecting? You are expecting Google, but it found like 1, 2, 3. So here it should be Google, but you are giving it as like 1, 2, 3. Title is not matching. So in this case, it's not going to execute this particular code. Okay. So here I'll just remove it and I'll execute this again. Okay. Now you see the difference. So it's not executing this particular thing, right? It's not inserting data into it. So it is able to identify the element, then it's not inserting the data. Now you see it is working fine because we got this Google title. Okay. See after this, I want to put something like assert dot set assert true. Boolean condition, I'm putting it as like false. Okay. I'm putting it as like false. So it should execute this one like if it is true, it will execute this particular statement. Otherwise, it will throw the exception. Now you see found. I am here after assertion. And as just change the XML file. What it is doing here, you can see failure 1 and see that what is that failure. So it is saying that expected condition. Okay, expected is true, but found false. Here it is like false. Let me put it as like true and execute this. Sorry guys, I just clicked on something else. Now let's go and see that what is the result. Okay, let me just execute this again. I'm sorry for that. It will show I am here after assertion true. And this is in another important interview question, guys. So they are going to ask you like, have you used any assertions? You can say that yes, I have used in test engine. Okay. So it is waiting for some element to be visible. Okay. Let me just close it again and I'm going to run it. Okay. Run as. Okay. Now you see that here, you can see this statement. I am here after assertion true. Okay. Earlier it was not showing this, right? Because this is like, throwing the exception. It throws the exception. Let's catch that exception. What is that exception that we are getting? Okay. So here I'm going to use catch exception. We got print stack. Okay. Let's go ahead. Okay, we gave the true, right? So I'm going to give it as like, for example, I'm going to give 1 to 3. I just take 1 to 3. So title is not matching, so it will. See what it is doing now. It get the print stack trace completely. It will show that. See, expected condition is like Google, but found 1 to 3. Okay. So this is actual and this is expected and this is actual one. Okay. So it's like it's showing like expected condition. Okay. So assertions will help you to handle this, like kind of if you have any validations that you want to do. So instead of assertions, what you can do is like you can write if statement. If this is like equals, then do something. Okay. But instead of using that conditions, if conditions, we have assertions here. Okay. So these assertions will help you to validate the conditions. Okay. So here you see now it is like kind of true. Then you are going to like what is happening here. Hard assertions are like kind of it is going to terminate this particularly. For example, if you are writing something here, let me just comment this one and I'm going to take this get driver. I want to quit after the execution is done. Okay. So now what is happening in this case is like it will not quit this browser because whatever statements that we have after the assertion, it will not execute because of the condition. Okay. The condition is not meeting. Okay. Now what is happening now? It will stop the execution here. It's going to throw the exception. It's saying that assertion Google found, but Google 1 to 3. Okay. So in certain cases, if you want to consider some conditions or piece of statements that you want to execute only after that condition is valid, then you can go and use these assertions. Okay. Assertions have two types. One is like hard assertion. Hard assertion will not allow you to execute the code after that particular line. If this is not valid, it's like if it is returning false. In this case, what it does is like it's going to throw the exception. Okay. So this is kind of like assertions. Like let me just rename this. Yeah, I'll do one thing, guys. I'll just undo everything and I'll create a new class. There we can. Okay, let me copy paste this. Okay. Assertions. Example. So this I will open. Here I'm going to add the assertion. Okay. So assert equals. So actually is like Google and I'm going to get the title. So title, I did not create the variable for the title. I'll just add it. Okay, now you can see, go and execute this code. I'll create XML file for this also. I'll create XML file. So how do we create? We'll create from here. Okay, we'll convert convert to test.ng XML. So now we can make it as like so what is that we have? Test.ng XML / assert test.ng. Okay, so we got this assert test.ng XML. Open this, you can see this has been created. Right click on this, run as test.ng. So it should fail, right? So we have Google 1, 2, 3. Oh, it should pass because we have given valid one. Now it is like this passing. I'm going to give it like 1, 2, 3. Now it will fail. Okay. So this is fine. But the thing is like when we have something that you want to handle assertions, like I'll just add one more assertion, then we'll discuss about soft assertions also. Okay. So assert, we can go to a lot of things that we can add it here. Okay. So see whatever you want to have, like for example, if you want to assert not equals not null. So everything that we can add it here. So yeah, assert true. Yes, I'm putting it as like assert true. So what we want to add a statement here is like I'm here after assertion is true. Okay, so here I'm going to put true. This will not execute because we have this issue here. Okay, so let me just put this one as like Google. Now I'm going to put C false. So it will throw the exception. Assert true, you're trying to check with assert true, but if pass the parameters like false. Now what it does is like it will throw the exception here. So that exception is like you can see the exception here. This is the exception. In console, go to the console, you can get see. What it is doing is like assert false. Okay. So now what we do is like now this is like assertions for the hard assertion. Hard assertion is like it will not go to the next statement until this assertion is false. And actually this assertion is like validate. Okay. So valid assertion, then only it will go. It's nothing but if you are checking something, if it is passing, then it will go here. If it is not, then it's going to do this exception. Now to avoid this, we have another condition that we have is like, not allowing me to drag and drop. Okay, let me copy and paste it here. We have a soft assertions. Okay, soft assertions, what it does is like, though the condition is false, it will go and try to execute the next statement. Okay, see for example, here I'm giving Google 1, 2, 3 title, and here I'm going to give the true. Okay, now check it. Now what we have to do is like for this, we have to create a object for this soft assertion. Okay, this assert is equals to new soft assertion. Okay, it will accept. Okay, this is like it has a constructor. Let's go to the soft assert. So here it simply gives when an assert fails, don't throw an exception, but record the failure. Calling assert all will cause an exception. So what I will do is like try to first I'll go and give this assertion assert dot. We have a same methods. Okay, we have same methods which are available here also. Okay, so what can we do is like we'll try to create this one as like a set. Now we have these assertions, okay, available everywhere. So one is like I'm giving this one, another one is like I'm going to give this one. Okay. So now you see, I'll go and try to execute this. So soft assertions, I'm using soft assertions. First is that I'm just checking for the equals. It shows like all passed, but we have two things failed, right? So this is not matching and this is like true. Okay. But here you see, I am here after assertion is failed. Okay, soft assertions, what they do is like they will just try to ignore those, like ignore in the sense it will record them, it will record the exceptions, and what it does is like it will continue with the execution. But hard assertions, it's kind of like it's going to throw the exceptions. Once it's like no, it's not valid. For example, this condition is failing. What it does is like it will throw the exception, it will skip this execution. But in case of soft assertions, it will record those exceptions. But you see that it is showing like everything is passed. Only thing that we made the mistake is like we have to throw them. Like assert all is like one other function which is available in the soft assert. What it does is like it will throw at the end of this and at the end of the program. Okay, assert all. Okay, we have to use assert all for throwing all the exceptions. What this does is like it's going to record all the exceptions. See, when an assertion fails, don't throw an exception but record the failure. Calling assert all, that's nothing but calling assert all will cause an exceptions to be thrown if at least one assertion failed. At least one assertion is failed. What it does is like it's going to throw the exception. Now you see the execution. Earlier it passed, right? Now it will throw the failure. It will throw the exceptions. Still the code will continue, but the difference is like now you see what it is saying like assertion. Following assertion failed. Okay, so what is that? What are the things now it is failing like expected? Google, but found 1, 2, 3. And other one is like here we are expecting true, but it is like false found. Okay, found false. Now you can see the exceptions will be thrown at the end. Okay, after the program is completed, it will throw the exception at the end. Okay, soft assertions, what it does is like it will record the exceptions and it will throw at the end. And it will allow you to continue with the execution. But hard assertions, it will stop you there itself and it will throw the exceptions. Okay, so these are the two asserts which are used as part of TestNG. And it's very important, guys. In interviews, they are going to ask you like, what is the difference between hard assertion and soft assertion? Okay. So I'll stop class here. Tomorrow we'll continue with the rest of the things in TestNG. Okay. So they from now onwards, like we have a lot of things that we'll be discussing as part of TestNG, like including today's class and yesterday's class. So we have setting the parameters and how do we set the optional parameters and how do we enable, disable the test cases, priority test cases, ignoring test cases, creating groups, creating dependencies, okay, and creating the data providers, parallel execution. Okay, all these things will be discussed. So after that, finally, we'll see some of the important things like how do we include these things as part of how do we create the extent reports and how do we create this, handle this test failures. Okay. Okay, yes, I'll stop it here. I'm going to share these things. Yeah, question. Any doubts?
No, sir.
Okay, yeah.